major reversal following a series of troubleshooter stories. Kentucky optometrists, given a license through a waiver, will have to stop performing any laser surgeries until they complete their national testing. This is Wave News at 6. I'm Myra Ansari.
And I'm Brian Schlonsky. The decision follows a series of Wave troubleshooter stories exposing the state's licensing scandal. Wave News troubleshooter Mark Stevens says the board is also going to get rid of that Canadian test, but not right away.
Yeah, this decision is a total flip-flop from the summer. The board approved the Canadian test this summer because it said students couldn't pass the first part of the U.S. test. Now it's going back to the U.S. exams to restore faith in Kentucky optometrists. In a series of votes, the Kentucky Optometry Board began trying to dig itself out of its own mess.
I think that's a great path forward for these optometrists to show clinical competency and restore the faith in our Kentucky doctors.
First, no laser procedures for optometrists licensed under a waiver. The troubleshooters found optometrist Hannah Ellis was given a license despite failing all three parts of the national exams. She was allowed to take an Oklahoma test as an alternative. She's currently being sued for malpractice, accused of causing vision loss after a laser procedure. She's denied the allegations in court.
These measures are being implemented out of an abundance of caution, despite the fact that additional education and credentialing are already required to perform such procedures.
The board will also get rid of a Canadian substitute test, but not until 2027. It will still accept that alternative test for optometrists licensed under the waiver, as well as the American Board of Optometry exam as a substitute for Part 3 of the U.S. test.
The Kentucky Board of Optometric Examiners remains committed to protecting the public, maintaining transparency, and ensuring a consistent and accountable licensing process moving forward.
The board's revised rules still need to go through a public hearing at the end of February. Now, NBEO, the testing body, has not commented yet on Kentucky's latest changes. It did send additional letters to Kentucky questioning more optometrist credentials. The optometry board so far has denied releasing those letters to us. Mark Stevens.